this has been the case since constitutional amendments started at the inception of democracy. Any clause that comes in for women has been quashed by the majority of men in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. Now, we need more sensitization on this issue. We need more people to come in and vocally speak on our behalf, not including just women, but men, he for she, men that consider women as equally important as men, and also who have confidence. Where I come from, in the Northeast, where a woman should be seen, not heard. But unfortunately for us, we're progressing, and we have the support of some of our male folk who are eager to see that our political career is sustained regardless, because of the relationship we have with the people from the grassroots, because we have their very interests at heart, always, offering ourselves for assistance or for guidance, and being the voice of the voiceless and the hope of the common man. So I think that once you actually try and assess yourself from 1 to 10 on how far you fared with people.
Okay. Gender balance refers to a situation where both males and females have equal opportunities and access to matters in all the institutions of society. One of the erroneous beliefs about gender is that it is about women. However, the definition of gender explores a combination of subjects affecting both men and women within a society. It is a social construct identifying relationships, expectations, and roles of both male and female in any given society. Now, gender balance in the time past usually relates to equality between men and women, boys and girls, on issues relating to human rights, family matters, and other spheres of life. However, in recent times, gender balance or equality may go beyond the areas listed that I have actually listed. And this is because there are certain constraints making the condition of women different from that of men. Now, just a while back, we talked about maternity leave. They've been on the back page of Daily Trust newspaper, and this is one of the conditions that makes what happens to women or women different from men, right? Now, in the studio with us today, we have Naomi Demide. Yes, she joins us for more discussions on this today. Today is actually meant to be like a debate. There's meant to be, a male guest as well, just the same way we have a male and female anchor. But since she's here, she might actually just be the umpire. Okay. Right? Good morning and welcome. Nice to have you on the show again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, but first of all, can you tell us the difference between gender equality, gender balancing, and gender equity?
Gender equality, gender balancing, and gender
equity.
Equity, okay. Okay, so gender equality simply means... let me get my words straight right now. Gender equality simply means...
You can start with any of them.
Okay, just pick any of them.
Yes.
Right. Gender equality simply means having the two genders, or both genders, having same rights, same privileges. I don't want to sound like I was in secondary school when I say, just like the name implies. All right? Gender equality. Well, let's just say equality for both sexes. And then gender balancing. I studied English, so let me bring a little bit of semantics into here. When you talk about balancing, that means it's continuous, not gender balanced or gender balance. When you say gender balance, that means it's fine. When you say balancing, it's ongoing, it's a continuous process. So when you talk about gender balancing, it means the process of having both gender balanced or equal. It's a process.
Okay.
All right, and gender equity. Gender equity means justice, fairness for all, really.
Okay.
So basically, gender balancing is well, you can't talk about gender balancing if there was inequality if there was no inequality in the first place, because there has to be inequality before you talk about balance. Yes, before you talk about what you're balancing. But in reality, not just what's written on paper, how unequal are the two genders? Let's talk about society now.
Our society now?
Yes.
Let me take us back a little bit into what we know, what we've been going through. Let's look at the family. Okay. Everything begins from the family. At home, growing up, we would agree that there were roles that were for the females and there were some roles that were for the males. And then peradventure, if you're the adventurous kind of child like me that will want to do what the guys are doing, you'll be scolded a number of times and then you'll be beaten and you'll be told, no, don't, that's not, the girls don't do that. And you can even see it when a woman gives birth. You ask, hey, what did she have? He says, a girl, oh, I'm buying pink. Or it's a boy, I'm buying blue. Who says girls can wear blue? And who says boys can wear pink? It's actually my favorite color, blue. Blue. So. There you have it.
Okay.
So yes, so already in our minds, we have inequality just stamped there unconsciously.
Okay. All right, but the thing is, if we talk about Then we talk about, all right, how women should be equal, right? We should give equal rights to women and whatnot. But we're also taught to be gentlemen. You open doors for ladies.
Chivalry and everything.
Exactly. Does that mean we should kill chivalry? Because we've been saying the chivalry is probably dead, but should we really kill it? Should we murder it now, so that everyone can be on an equal?
Okay, so the ladies open the doors for themselves, and then they do what you guys do for us. Okay,
but does it actually make a difference? You can actually do both.
You can do both.
You can do both what?
Yes, you can do both. You can be equal with women and also, be chivalrous.
Still be a gentleman.
How?
Yes.
You can still have your masculine. I don't know. I think men are feeling like, okay, for us to be able to achieve this, we have to go extreme and stop doing what we used to do for these women so that we can both be equal. No, your masculinity is not in being a gentleman alone or being a chauvinist. Your masculinity is being able to blend both and find a balance, and that's where gender balancing comes in.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. But we still haven't addressed the issue. All right, if I'm supposed to be a gentleman, all right, I'm supposed to open a door for the lady, and I'm supposed to spread my cloak for her to walk over when it's raining. You understand? I'm supposed to hold an umbrella for her. Isn't that making her, it's just like you with the child. You do a lot of things for the child because the child is not able to do it for himself. So isn't that the same thing? So shouldn't I allow her to hold the umbrella for herself, open the door for herself? Maybe she should spread the cloak for me to walk over if there's a puddle.
I should also ask, why is it such a concern for men? Why is gender equality a concern for men?
You're deflecting now. I want this question to be addressed first. All right? Should we kill chivalry because we want to achieve gender equality? That is the question that I'm asking.
Okay. Do I answer both?
No, answer this one first because I asked first.
Because why is it a concern? He's concerned right now. That's why I'm asking. Why is it such a concern?
I asked first. All right, so let's talk about this first.
Are we debating already?
Before we go
would it make you feel better if you kill it? If you killed it, will you feel better?
No, I just want to know.
Because I know there are ladies that are alpha females that don't even want a guy to do these things for them.
But there are ladies who want this thing to happen to them.
But not everybody. It's based on your personality.
So that means not everybody wants gender equality. Not every woman wants gender equality.
Gender equality is not opening doors for women. It's not spreading out your cloak or holding an umbrella. You can be doing that and still be abusive, still be domineering and whatever, all the negatives, and still do all of that. We have stories of men who are nice outside and beasts inside. Are you saying that there's gender balance in there?
Okay, I just want to say, have you heard a story of a woman who actually, earns way more than a husband, but still comes home and is submissive and takes care of the man and the family. Have you heard that?
Of course.
So just because, she's probably equal, because in that case, just because they don't actually have the same jobs and all that, just because she's equal with the man when it comes to, workplace and everything, does that mean she should not still, perform her
So what
womanly
we're
duties?
saying right now is gender equality in some places, in some aspects, and then in some aspects is good for inequality to reign. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, confusing us.
Well, that is the thing.
that's a very confusing question.
Because if we're saying that, okay, in certain aspects people should be equal, and in certain aspects it shouldn't be the case, and that means we're treating everything on a case by case basis, and it's not a blanket thing.
Like I said, people treat your personality affects the way you see things. It's like going to a place of worship. We all went to the same place of worship. And what you heard is different from what she heard.
How you understand.
And how you understand,
comprehend.
yes. Understanding.
But gender equality is like it's like a mantra. It's like it's something that's been
Do you know that there are women? There are
drummed.
still women that hear this gender equality thing. They've been hearing it again and again. They've gone for symposiums. They've gone for conferences on gender equality, and they have taken this thing way, 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 way too far. There's still people out there, and there are still men that will never understand what gender equality is. No matter how much we sing it, there are still people that may not grasp
Well,
it.
maybe the thing is, maybe why people don't understand what gender equality actually is because it's not something that is clearly spelled out.
Okay.
What makes gender equality? Is it gender? Are we talking about gender equality at home? Are we talking about in the workplace? Are we talking about in other? What are we talking about? Is it blanket, or do we take you can be equal in the workplace, but you can't be equal at home? You can get equal pay, but at home everything is different.
Do you know even being equal?
Is that how it is?
Even being equal in the workplace doesn't stop the woman from, being submissive, because naturally, men are actually the head of women, ahead of women, or they're meant to be above women. Do you get? But having equal pay, equal access to, some things,
Fundamental.
you get what I'm
rights,
saying,
yeah.
is different. It's quite different. You're actually confusing me.
I thought I was the only one there.
I think he has, he doesn't have, there's no other male, male person.
Yes, I have to up my game. I have to up my game because I'm being tag team here.
I think we will need a blood pressure machine to check your blood pressure.
Okay, just before we actually move on.
Yeah.
What is the difference between women empowerment and gender equality?
Women empowerment is it's a branch of gender equality. It's one of the ways in which you make or help women to achieve that gender equality.
Okay.
So it's like saying characteristics. Okay, this is a man. What makes up a man? That's just what you're asking. So women empowerment is, we have realized that at some point women are not empowered enough. And when men hear empowering, look at how he's looking at me. Check. When women, we've noticed that when women are not empowered enough, they don't have a voice. They are shut down easily. They are more seen than heard, and all that. So it has come to the front burner that we need to empower these women to be able to be who we want them to be, who society says they are not. They need to prove that they can do more. And how is that possible? Financially, intellectually. There are different forms of empowerment, not just having money alone.
Okay, so what role does culture actually have to play in this?
That is hard. Culture is the basis in Africa of everything. Culture is basically the basis of everything in Africa, and a lot of cultures have fought against gender equality. A guy should be playing football and should be with the men, while the ladies should be in the kitchen and cooking, and they should not be seen, or they should be seen and not heard, right? So culture hasn't supported gender equality even till date in a lot of places around Africa and Nigeria.
So if we're trying to fight for gender equality now, and culture is something that we hold very dear, most especially in African societies. So how do we circumvent that?
Change is the only thing that is constant. Everybody needs to understand that. And I want to believe somehow our traditional rulers, those who are in custody of tradition, are aware that change will come someday.
Okay.
I'm sure everybody is aware that change will come someday, but they are hoping that the efforts they put into ensuring that this thing doesn't happen will go a long way to ensure it doesn't happen, but someday it will happen. We've seen, for instance, Queen Amina of Zaria. She broke the status quo. She changed the whole rhythm of rulership in a core northern state where women are more subdued than other places I know. All right, and she changed it, and that means yes, it's possible. It's absolutely possible. Show yourself, show your worth, and then I think the whole male folk and the world will follow suit.
So we should kick culture to the curb now?
No, we are not kicking culture to the curb. No.
Okay, for example.
Okay, so we're tweaking it.
We can tweak it a little bit.
Let me just ask Ibrahim this. Now, for example, you're at a workplace and, both of us have similar jobs. We do the same thing, absolutely the same thing, right? But when it comes to pay, you're being paid more than me. Why? Because you're a man?
He says,
No, I'm listening.
Do you get what I'm saying? I'm just trying to paint a picture to you. So the fight for gender equality has to do with if we're doing the same work, then we should get the same pay.
So
in fact, if I am doing, more work as a woman, I should even get paid more than you.
That brings me back to the question that I asked earlier. If we're talking about gender equality, is it a blanket thing that we're looking at, that we're trying to fight? Is it in all aspects? That's in the home, at school, in the workplace. Is it a blanket thing? Or is it, okay, gender equality applies here, but it doesn't apply here?
Gender equality
that is the question that I'm asking.
Should apply in all places. And when we talk about gender equality now, let me bring your blood pressure down a little.
My blood pressure is actually it's not going anywhere. My blood pressure hasn't gone anywhere because I'm just trying to understand.
Okay.
You understand?
Let me come in very simple words, simple language now. Gender equality it also involves men.
Yes, it does. I'm actually getting to that. I'm actually getting to that.
Let's chill a little bit.
Yes, exactly. Chill.
Guys, let's chill a little bit.
I'm chill.
All right, it's not all about the women. If we're going to talk about all about the women, then we're talking about something entirely different. That's feminism. Feminism is strictly women-based. The men have nothing to do with it. But when we say gender equality, we're talking about you having equal as I have. And if I'm having more than you, then we should ensure that it comes either up or comes down to the same level.
But the thing is, the concept of gender equality, because that's why I kept on asking. I really need to understand. We need to understand what the concept of gender equality actually is, because it's been turned into a woman thing. You understand? When you hear gender equality, it's just been turned into a woman thing. So that's why I really try to understand.
Because the women are actually being subdued more than the men. And by the men.
In what aspects? In every aspect?
You can even look at religion, for instance. Let's pick religion out now. How many women preach? How many women are allowed to preach? You can barely count. You can't even remember anybody that preaches, right? Let's look at making rules in the house, decisions at home. Even if the mother is alive and the father is dead, she'll have to call the men from the clan of the man to come and make rules concerning a child she birthed. And say, okay, this child is getting, let's say marriage now, this child is getting married. Say, okay, the elders have spoken concerning this child. What about the mother? What does she have to say? Her say is no good.
Now we're coming back to culture then.
Yes, we're coming back. I'm trying to touch basically every aspect. Let's look at politics. How many women have come out for the position of president? And how did it go down with women and the male folk as well?
But they haven't been, they are not stopped from doing that.
Yeah, no. You know the funny thing? Men don't stop us, but they don't support either.
No,
a lot of men actually support.
No, the gender bill says it all because most all the gender bills that has to do with women were rejected in the first place.
Yes, what were those bills about?
Indigenship, it was about, having slots for
Exactly.
women in parliament
Why
as well.
must there be a particular slot? Okay, so if I will have 20 seats here, and these 20 seats must be occupied by women. It hasn't been stated that these 100 seats are for men. No, all these seats are available for everybody. Everybody can actually go. Nobody's stopping you from buying a nomination form. Nobody's stopping you from contesting. It's actually there. It's open. You can go there and do it.
Okay,
Why can't we say, okay, fine, we have 50 seats here available, so 20 seats are going to be just for women, 20 seats are going to be just for men, and then the remaining 10 will let everybody fight it out. Why can't we say something like that? Because we're talking about equality now, aren't we? You understand?
So
why can't we have parity?
Still talking about
like
equality. How is it that, right, a man marries a woman from a different state, and then yet she cannot claim her husband's state, even after being with him for more than 20 years?
So if a man marries a woman,
she can't contest in that particular
if a man
state.
marries a woman
After taking his name
Exactly.
and birthing children
if a man marries a
And she
woman,
even speaks the culture, the
Exactly,
language, even more than many of them.
if a man marries a woman from a different state, does he become an indigenous of the state?
That's what we're still fighting for. That's where the gender equality is
That is the
coming
thing.
from. We're fighting for both.
That is the thing. Everybody holds his own. You hold your state, I hold my state. Then what?
I think culture has something to do with that.
No, but the thing is, really, with this issue of claiming states and whatnot. I mean, like, there's a particular senator from Adamawa State, who is actually not from that state. She married somebody from Adamawa State, and she's contested for a senatorship, and she got it.
I want to give it to the North.
So what are we talking about?
I don't think this is common in other more rigid cultures. The North, to an extent, have been quite accommodating, if you would agree with me. I know a lot of people who have been married to indigenes of Plateau State, and they contested while they are not even from Plateau, and they got it. But I don't think I've heard of that in other states, our brothers and sisters in other states.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, nothing stops you from doing that. It hasn't been written that, okay, if you're married to somebody that's from this particular state, that you cannot
Maybe we should
contest.
have it written.
You cannot contest.
Maybe we should have it written that,
Yeah.
okay, you can contest. Another thing could be ignorance. People are not aware that this is the power they hold. They can do this and they can do that. But if it is spelled out and said, okay, now you are married to us, you can contest, we'll vote for you and all that. You have equal rights as your husband does. Then maybe
So maybe some of these gender issues, are actually are rooted in, just like what you said, lack of awareness. People don't actually know what their rights actually are. As maybe as a male or a female, you don't know what your rights are as a human being. Really, maybe I think that is where we should start looking at it from.
And just before we go on a break now, she said something about the gender equality not being just for the women folk, do you get? But then, even at that, even the women fought for paternity leave for these men. And, in some companies, they have them, giving men paternity leave for 1 week. Not as much as the women, but so they can actually support the women, their wives and everything. So, it's both ways.
Yes.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be back in a bit. We'll be back.
We have to be our brother's keepers. We need to stand up for women folk other than ourselves. We need to disregard any pull-me-down syndromes as far as gender is concerned, especially when a woman and woman are concerned. Some women I find that I've spoken to are more comfortable being around men environment than they are with the women. But why is that? Because they haven't fared well with their women folk. So we need to repair our own house before we get the respect we need from the men. I think that is one factor that is bringing us down a bit. So we need to repair our own house in order to earn the respect that we need from the men, who will be readily avail themselves and give us the positions that we are hoping for, and give us the percentage we are hoping for. So, it's not entirely that, but that is also a factor. There are a lot of challenges involved. Of course, the people are the major factor because they choose their candidates, and a lot of things come up against you when you're vying for a political position. Like where I am in the north, culturally, women should be seen, not heard. Religiously, women should be seen, not heard. But it has changed. We have seen Benazir Bhutto do it in Pakistan. It's a predominantly Muslim Islamic country, but she was able to, come to the leadership position. But unfortunately, it was short-lived. But at least she proved her point, And coming back, to Nigeria, we have people like the likes of Harriet Godabi, who also, was from a Muslim background, but she also contested and won her election, But so basically, what I'm trying to say is that I think that if there's the will, there's a way.
Well, it's still Daybreak Extra on Trust TV, and we're talking about gender equality, we're talking about rights, we're talking about having an equal playing field in all aspects. And before we went on that break, we were actually talking about awareness. How aware are we of our roles? How aware are we of our rights as individuals, as human beings, first of all? Are we truly aware of those rights that we actually have, or the roles that we are supposed to play? Are we truly aware of them?
I would say no. Because I didn't get to know some of my rights until a couple of years ago, and that's because by marriage I'm married to a lawyer, so I got to read and hear a lot of things that I wasn't aware of. The school system didn't teach us these things about laws and rights and all of that. So I also think that for gender equality to happen, to take place, there should be a lot of education for the upcoming generation. They should be able to know that we are not at war with each other. We are actually meant to help each other, more like two wheels rotating one another. If this stops, this stops. If we continue going in the same direction, gearing in the same motion, we get the job done.
So basically, what we should understand is that this is a journey that we can do together.
Yes, we can.
And it's good for everybody, because I'm really trying to stress this point, because a lot of people actually get it wrong. We confuse gender equality with feminism and women.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about gender equality, we just talking about, we make it a woman thing. Yeah. So that's why I'm trying to bring this to the fore right now, because we really need to understand. So basically, awareness is one of the first things that we need to get.
Yes. We need to be aware of what gender equality is. It's not a war. We need to be aware of our rights. And I think, first of all, women should know who they are. If you know who you are, like I like to tell people when I talk to them, I say, if you know who you are, nobody will tell you who you're not. And men likewise, if you know who you are, my personality, what makes me who I am, nobody will tell you who you're not. So if somebody say beat her, for instance, you're like, no, it's not in my nature to beat her. This is not who I am. This is not me. All right?
So if we look at the different roles that we actually have as male and female, we have, there are roles that are exclusive to women.
Yeah. Yes.
They are really exclusive.
Yes, that's why I says it all.
to women.
Yes,
to women. And the men have different roles as well. So if we have those different roles that are really not equal, can we say that we can truly achieve gender equality on a blanket slate across everything? Can we do that?
No, not exactly. Let's use childbearing, for instance. Let's take childbirth, for instance. I have a baby. I just had a baby. And I'm not expected to clean, to do a lot of chores and all that. I think where the gender equality problem comes in is a woman has a baby, for instance. She has a baby and the husband is not supportive. He goes out, drinks with his friends. Yeah, my wife just had a baby.
Yes.
And he's not in the house.
We need to celebrate with the boys.
Did you say yes?
We need to celebrate with the boys.
So women over time have felt that the gap has not been covered by men. Like you said, roles. The role the man is supposed to be there to fill, he's not there. He's with the wrong, I don't say the wrong okay, he's with the right people at the wrong time. You're supposed to be home with your wife, pampering her, offering her support, how you feeling, and then he's hanging out with the guys, watching football. My wife just had a baby, drinks on me, guys.
Exactly.
No.
Drinks all round, everybody has fun. I mean, like, that's being supportive as well. He's celebrating.
In what way is that supportive?
She doesn't know you are even buying drinks on her account.
In what way?
Because if my wife gives birth right now, I go and it's drinks on me, you know, and everybody will be like, yay.
I think the men actually, when you talk about childbirth, you know, over time, I've realized that the men actually, you know, get overexcited when their wives give birth, and you know, they forget themselves. And you know, even when it comes to the theater room, you know, a lot of them cannot stand to actually see their wives in pain.
Yes.
Do you get?
Because he loves his wife and he doesn't want to see her in pain.
They run away.
Of course, because he loves his wife and he can't bear to see his wife go through that. I mean, like, that doesn't take anything away from him just because he wasn't there physically.
But a woman going through, we'll digress a little bit. A woman whose husband is going through pain stands there. Are you saying our role is to endure your pain?
So are we saying that there's a similar pain a man can go through that can be equated to the pain of childbirth?
No.
Considering the fact that you know, childbirth, you know, comes with a lot of complications. A lot of women actually die while giving birth. You know, in that case, that man should be there wherever she is to support her. You understand? And then in a case where, you know, after giving birth, these women actually go through, what's the name of that mental illness? Postpartum depression. The man should be there to support the woman and show the woman that, you know, it's not such a bad thing.
So it's not really equality that we're talking about. We're talking about support now.
It's still equality. Equality and support go hand in hand.
It can't be equal. Because
Doesn't
we don't go through the same thing.
No, we don't.
That is the thing. We don't go through the same thing, so it can't be equal.
Roles. This is our God-given role to bear children.
Exactly.
And your God-given role is to support.
Exactly.
Of which majority of men do not.
But I think when you talk about support, my wife gives birth. There is nowhere that I can go and feel the kind of thing that she's feeling, because I can't.
No, you can't.
I actually can't. Exactly. So I support her in using my own role.
Buying drinks for the guys.
Going with the boys.
Okay,
when I go with the boys and I buy drinks for them and we celebrate and everybody is like, congratulations.
But how about when you're with her and she knows that you're here with her? It actually makes the process easier.
But she knows I'm going there on her behalf. She knows I'm going there on her behalf.
Okay, now let's talk about this now, right? Are you saying, am I right to say that it is easier for the woman to actually feel what these men go through than vice versa? Because when it comes to, you know, a man being the head of the house and, you know, supporting the house and everything, if the man loses his job and the woman can afford to support the house, she comes in and she does that. Would you call that, you know, equality, or I don't know?
That is the thing. Well, and that was the question I should be asking you. What do you call that? You understand?
Support.
Support. You call it gender support. You don't call it gender. You don't call it gender equality. You know, the man.
But she's in your shoes at that time.
The man brings the bread home, whether his wife has a job or not. He brings the bread home because that's his role.
But when he doesn't,
that's his role. You understand? If he is not able to do that for some reason, and she comes in, that is support. That is not equality. Once he gets his job back, she goes back to being.
I like when you said when he gets his job back.
Yes.
So that means something must have triggered women to say we are not treated fairly. You do not offer medicine when there is no pain.
Well, it's not a question of it's not a question of fairness now, because gender equality is not. Because we just talked about it. We have different roles.
Yeah.
And you can't mete out the same kind of thing for different roles. So what I'm trying to say, or the point I'm trying to make, is because we have different roles, we cannot say truly that we can have gender equality across a blanket slate. That is all I'm saying. Do you agree with me?
I'll hold on to that thought for now. I'll hold on to that thought for now. Let's take the same scenario she used, saying a man loses his job and the wife buffers steps into his shoes and fills up for a little while. It's supposed to be a little while. Now, assuming this guy just goes, okay, hey, I've lost my job. I have access to her PIN and her card. And then I blow the money, I go shopping. And this woman is trying to make the household see that it's daddy buying the things into the house. But within her, she's saying it's my sweat, right? I worked for this. And then he keeps buying and he keeps buying and he doesn't make any effort to try to get a job.
Or even after he gets, he gets used to the fact that she is,
support.
Well, right now, we're talking about this is a case-by-case basis. It doesn't happen all the time.
No, it doesn't
and I believe it's not really in the majority when things like this happen.
Now, that is why I want us to understand that something must have triggered women to say that we are not treated fairly. Well, it must have happened a lot of times, over and over and over again. Like you said, it doesn't happen every time. It doesn't happen in all families. But for as many times that it has happened, women have seen that, okay, maybe these men are just too comfortable. Maybe these men are not going to rise up to be the men we want them to be. So let's rise up and get empowered for ourselves.
So let's put a pin in that thought, because this is a discussion that can go on and on.
Very vast.
It's a very vast thing when you're talking about gender, when you're talking about gender equality, gender support, and gender equity and parity. It's a discussion that we need to keep having so that we can be able to understand what all these are all about and why we actually need them. So thank you very much for all those insights, for coming on the show today, and of course giving us this insight into what these genders, gender equality, gender equity, gender balancing is all about. And we look forward to having you again. Yes.
Yes.
To probably continue this discussion, or of course explore other things as well.
Just before she leaves, right? Yeah. You talked about gender balancing and gender equality, and the question for the topic is gender equality or gender balancing. Which would you pick?
I'll be answering his question in that case, which
I don't want to.
Which she has run away from.
Which I have refused to.
All right. Yeah. So let's say you're saved by the bell.
Yes.
All right. So let's. So this is where we rounded up today on Daybreak Extra. It's been a blast, really, on the show this morning. And we hope to be back here again next week to bring you something extra, as we always do on Trust TV.
I'm Dasha and Hussein Ausman. Thank you so much for staying.
So let's do it all again next week. I'm Ibrahim Yusuf.